All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are live on Memorial Day weekend. Boys, I'm going to try to figure out like the little glass half full kind of way. I'll tell you, that laugher last night, like you said, Kev, was much needed, and I feel better. I feel a lot fucking better than I would have if last night didn't happen. I'm happy we didn't record yesterday because things were looking quite grim there between our party getting ruined by the 7-2 loss and then the 4-2 just brown color of shit the day after.
The being alive on Memorial Day, while a noble cause or anything to get excited about, two weeks ago, I was not sure. I'll be honest. That winning streak, I was as close to a mental console. I probably wouldn't have said it out loud because I still wait, and it's a good thing I did. But I was on the verge of just being like, this pitching is just so bad. And we're still going to face that issue all year long. But the fact that they staved off any sort of, another couple weeks of that kind of play, and that's the type of shit the guys just start packing it in. We'll see you next year sort of shit. So I know that this week got a little bumpy, but the bigger picture, back to 500 is like, for the grand scheme of things, we're okay. Now, it's going to be like this all year, though. Like every time we have the opportunity, in the beginning of the year, we were playing good, and we all looked at that schedule with the Reds and the Rockies and everybody. We were licking our chops, and we blew it. And then we have the 5-game winning streak, head to the Cubs and I think the Reds again, maybe whoever it is, and we're licking our chops, and we blew it. So if it's going to be this, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back, it's going to be a long year. But I'm just happy that, we salvaged it. It was a laugher. Pete's still mashing. We got a good pitching performance. Like, let's at least have some good takeaway from that series and just recognize that we're probably going to be like a 500 team that does this. If I thought we were truly like a 100-win team and we were blowing it every time we had the opportunity to really go on a run and turn that 5 games into like 8 or 9, I would be frustrated. But I think it's more likely that we're going to win 5, lose 2, up 3, down 1, like just back and forth, back and forth. So I'm going to try to not get too bent out of shape about it. Because when your pitching is just this questionable, you can't go on prolonged runs. That's what it comes down to. Even when the Mets offense was bad in the era, the World Series appearance era, you knew every night you're getting like 6 innings, 3 runs minimum, and we can keep this bitch rolling. And if you get back, if the back end does their job and the front end's back, we're going to keep it rolling. With a staff like this, it's just not going to happen. So I'm not going to try to get too bent out of shape about missing opportunities for long winning streaks, because I just don't think they're really in the cards for us.
Yeah, I think we kind of saw the other side of it with, at least the theory of the 5 aces from Flushing, right? Where it's like, even when we had just, 3 of those guys, 4 of those guys, it's like, we're not going to have a prolonged losing streak. And we could even really start fucking cruising. Because if the shittiest guy, or the Bartolo, let's just call it what it was. If Bartolo's pitching good, then DeGrom's coming and Harvey's coming and blah, blah, blah. And you're not going to have losing streaks. And then you could have some crazy long winning streaks. We're like the opposite of that right now, where it's like, I know the offense can show some signs of life. I know the bullpen will usually handle it if they're not completely battered down. But if we're still going to just have 3 runs in the first inning here and there, and then, everything's going to get jacked out of whack, it is what it is. It's easy to say, all right, let's just not care about the regular season, worry about September rolling into October. We might just have to temper our expectations as Mets fans. Kyle, give me the knowledge from the Gelling brain right now.
It's like I go into every game this season already protecting myself. I know the first inning's probably going to be shit. Even yesterday, Carrasco going into the 3rd inning, I'm like, this dude's not getting out of the 5th because he's always in a tight spot no matter what. I can't believe he went 6 2/3. I looked up from the TV and I can't believe he's still in the game at this point. So and I think this is how all Mets fans are kind of approaching it at this point. We are a 500 ball club, and not just in record, just in the eye test. You're you don't know what you're getting game to game to game. So, yeah, yesterday they come out and they score 10 runs, and it's amazing. And you're this is what the offense could be. But then you got Daniel Vogelbach as our DH, who just walks and looks at strike threes. That's not a team built for a long term. So if he's still here come August, it's going to be like, well, we probably fucked up somewhere along the way. So it's more so future me can be excited, but right now I'm like, this team is a 500 team, and I'm just accepting that until they're not.
All right, now let's throw it to Phil. Like the fucking on the Mets bet is going right now. So how are we feeling, Philip?
I forgot how annoying it is to play these bad teams and lose to them. So I can't wait to play the Phillies next week, who I'm going to pretend are not a bad team. So let's just get through the Rockies. How about that?
I like it, man.
I do feel like the Vogie experiment has run its course. I mean, dude,
he'd be fine as a bench player.
Yeah. I shouldn't say we have to like bail on him totally, but he can't. I don't get it. This is more. Alvarez kind of proved me wrong, and I'm so happy he did. Remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about how I feel like Mets prospects sometimes they don't just like take it and run with it, and that's exactly what Alvarez is doing after kind of a rocky start. So I'm like, yes, I'm happy. Like, do it. I also feel like a lot of times, whether you're talking about Hall of Famer like Roberto Alomar or just like a solid big boy bat like Vogelbach, guys come to this team and just stop doing what they do. And I'm sure other fan bases feel it and experience it, but it's like whether it is like the Mo Vaughn, Jeremy Burnitz era where we like signed a bunch of bats who in a steroid era should have hit a bunch of bombs and just didn't, or Roberto Omar just fell off a cliff, or we signed these closers and these guys who just don't do it, or in Vogie's case, like he should at least mash as a righty-lefty guy, and they just stop. I'm like, what the fuck happens when you just all of a sudden don't do what you do anymore? I don't get it. I hate to see it because he is just awesome as an X-Factor. But it is tough. And same thing with my boy Nito. Like, I know he had the eye issue, and maybe having his eyes fixed can help greatly. But I feel like we all said last year he earned another shot this year, and we gave it to him. And I don't think it's working out, especially with Alvarez, who is working out, who is by everybody's account, like not only is he performing well now, we're getting rave reviews from the pitching staff and his defense and all that. Like we might actually have a real one on our hands now, who is we knew could mash, but now if you're starting to put together the behind the plate, he might be, a real special type of player.
Yep. So with Vogie, I think it's as a wise man once said, you either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And listen, last year was magic. It was magic for everyone. He was the perfect guy. I mean, as soon as we got him and we saw him running around the bases, just being an absolute unit, came in, was great with us, was great with all the fans, basically. Right, AJ? You love Vogelbach. Yeah, we have the kids home for Memorial Day right
what
now.
Up, buddy? Remember that guy on CNN who like the housekeeper came in and like dragged the kid out by his hair?
Exactly what I was thinking.
AJ has, let's see, he was on the dozen where I got a question right as he was climbing on me. I did a dog walk giraffe as he was on my shoulders like a cat. And now he's joined the We Gotta Believe family. It's very nice. He's a Mets fan, though, so that's fine. But our boy Vogie, like, it absolutely kills me. But if he's not going to play defense, which he can't do, right, and he's not going to swing the bat, which is, like, the biggest problem as much as we love on base, like, he's kind of just dead in the water, unfortunately, and I love the guy. Like you said, a bench guy is fine, but if Buck's going to, wheel him out every time we face a righty, it's just way too much.
You can't be a designated hitter and then just, like, it's not walks as good as a hit. If you're the 9 guy, like, yes, then I'm rooting for you to walk. If you were James McCann last season, like, I was hoping you got hit by the ball. But, like, you can't be the designated hitter in a universal DH world where, like, all you're doing is walking. And I don't get it. I understand, like, the Tiger can't change his stripes type of thing. But, like, you have Vientos on the bench. SNY's flashing to the dugout over and over again. I would be swinging out of my shoes because guess what? You're losing your job no matter what happens.
Like last-ditch effort. Start swinging to the fences and become, Babe Ruth if you can do it. I
be
also,
Adam Dunn. Like, hit 140 but hit 40 home runs. And then nobody will say a word.
Totally.
And this is a picture like Kyle Hendricks who's tossing in 86-mile-per-hour fastballs. Like, what are you looking at?
Yeah, that it makes no sense to me. I also do want to say Vogelbach perfect example of I almost feel bad, and we are the main culprits of it. When a guy who is just okay gets a ton of love from the fans, then you almost put a bullseye on his back. And all the Yankee fans and Mets haters and all that are like, look at your boy Bogey, like he's trash. And it's like we elevated him to this level of expectations that was really not fair to him, you know? Like it should have just been like Bogey's our boy and he's a big boy, you know, big guy. We love him like as a bench guy, you know, because all of a sudden it's like we, you know, you kind of put these unfair expectations that he's got to go out there and like, you know, defend himself and the team against like, you know, nobody else has a bench player, you know, a crappy platoon bench player that gets all this attention. So those guys just kind of go under the radar and perform, you know, do their job. So I do feel bad about hyping him up to be this guy and then it kind of set him up for failure. But it was lightning in a bottle last year.
Yeah,
he's a career 219 hitter, and he's had 69 career home runs. Like that's not a DH. It's just kind of like a platoon guy.
He's the perfect trade deadline. Fix the way you fix, you know, the hole the way you can and make it work. And you hope Ruff was going to come in, who obviously, you know, when he was compared to Ruff too, he looked like he was fucking Barry Bonds, right? It's like either home runs or he walks. And like you said, we're learning why Vogie has been on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams in his 8-year career. And I'm looking at his numbers right now. His last year with the Mets was the second highest OPS of his career. And granted, it was only in 55 games. And then the other one was in 19 games. So it's basically like he is what he is. He's perfectly fine for when Vogie comes up in the 7th inning and I need a guy to get on base and then you pinch run him. Perfect. It's when you're sitting Vientos or you're sitting Alvarez with another catcher. If we end up with 3 catchers or basically anyone that actually swings the fucking bat. Phil, you said it perfect. When he's taking a cold strike 3 on Kyle fucking Hendricks, I'm like, what are we even doing here?
It felt JD Davis-esque where it was just like, what's happening right now? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if there's something mental or if the pressure gets to you or something, but sometimes these guys fall into these ruts where it's just like, what the fuck is happening? You know,
it's also like not for nothing. Put Escobar, just let Escobar bat lefty and play him at third base. Then we have superior defense in the field and like get Beatty like sometime in the field and sometime at DH, and you could switch on and off with that. Like there's other options that we're not exploring, and it can't be Tommy Pham and Vogelbach. Like, what are we doing?
Well, but also I always end up doing this because all of these points are valid, but Tommy Pham and Vogelbach and these guys are not like make or break for this team. No. You see what happens when Pete is mashing and Lindora joins him and Marte's going, and like those are the guys. McNeil is going to be why our offense thrives. And if all that's happening, you know, you can kind of put up with a Vogie game or a Escobar game or whatever. The problem is when it's feast or famine, that sort of shit doesn't fly. We don't have the luxury of that. But I you know, sometimes I think we get bogged down worrying about some of these, you know, bit players and role players and shit when we know who's got to hit for this team to win, you know.
It's that plus Alvarez batting 9th. When Canna batting 7th or wherever they're hitting these guys that aren't performing, and that's the head scratcher that comes into it. And I understand it's not like Alvarez is getting better or worse pitches by batting 9th. Like everyone in the league knows the type of player he's going to be or like is right now. It's like he's still getting pitched like he's up higher in the lineup. So let's like get him more at bats.
Phil, can I send you on a very this is a very dangerous mission, but I think it's something you're ready for in your all years of interneting. Can you just every day just give me the Mets comments of the day to the lineup? Because I know you're looking at all the lineup comments.
The second the lineup gets posted, I'm like, oh, this is getting ratioed. Like,
and there's some there's a lot of like Fleming's disciples in there, man. I don't go to the community anymore, and I definitely don't look at the replies to the Mets lineups at all because it's just a scary place. But it is like this is what baseball fans do. This is what gets us by through our days and during the spring and summer, the dog days. I get that. At this point, I can't even defend Buck anymore. Like with Vogie batting 6th, he's trying to get. I understand what he's trying to do. He's probably trying to get the guy going. It took forever to get Marte bumped down. Now Marte is getting it going. I think Vogelbach doesn't even get the bump down. He just gets the fucking bench or the DFA, the pink slip. So I feel like that's kind of the next step for him there, unfortunately. Even though I'd love to have a guy like that on the bench for, like a playoffs and something. Because how many, like, we saw the Yankees. Like, it's like the guy who just will grind a walk, David Justice at the end of his career against us in 2000. I'm not saying he's David Justice by any means, but it's like a guy who has a good eye. But he at some point, like, you can't just call third strikes against Kyle Hendricks. That might be the line for Buck. I think Buck, everyone has their line, and he's like, God damn it, Vogie, that's Hendricks on the mound right there. What are you doing there, fella?
I was gonna say, well, Epler said, I think it was a few weeks back, it's like by Memorial Day, it's kind of what you have in your veterans, and it's time to like really evaluate the roster. And Memorial Day is Monday, so we have 3 games for these guys to get going, or someone has to go.
Yeah, Guillorme already took the heat, right? He already took the L. He took the DFA. And that's the thing. At some point, if you're going to have like a lefty who's not really hitting, I'd rather a guy who could play like Gold Glove at every position in the infield than Vogie, who just kind of sits there and does his thing. So it was a tough weekend or tough week. At least we had fun, though. We had fun. We were out with the boys. We were drinking our Coors Lights out at 5th and Med. It was a glorious time. Another L for the boys, unfortunately. We're going to fix this watch party thing if it's the end of us. But everything goes a little bit better when we were drinking our Coors Light. Everything gets a little crazy. Even just getting these podcasts up, it's like I got kids jumping in on me. KFC dropping kids off. Kyle is going to weddings every single day. Phil's grinding on everything at Barstool. But sometimes you need to just take a break, sit back, relax, and enjoy your time at the bar, and do that with a Coors Light when the mountains are blue. It's ready to go. So go ahead, say yes to midweek happy hours and catching the Mets game after work. And while you're at it, enjoy a nice cold Coors Light, a proud partner of the New York Mets. And it keeps the lights on here. We got to believe it's cold lager, cold filter, and cold package, literally made to chill. So pair your plans with an ice cold Coors Light, the beer that's keeping New York chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Okay. I'm going to put this one up to the group here. I see Frank the Tank in the chat. Do we want to have Frank the Tank on?
I want to hear him talk about Vogelbach.
You do or you don't?
I do. I see the comments and like he's like, I can't fucking play baseball either, but I could also stand there and not swing the bat.
It looks like he wants to promote the Pete Alonso comedy. I don't know why he's promoting that, but that's a good cause.
Well, did you see what Pete said on Cardin Roberts yesterday? They told them that Frank's preparing a song, and he goes, "Oh, Mr. Fleming."
All right. So without further ado, Frank the Tank. Frank, this is going to be fun, Frank. We're going to have our fun, whatever. This isn't going to be screaming. We won last year.
No, I'm not going to be screaming. I just got to say this, that I like I said, in my comments, I'm 47 years old. I weigh around 365 pounds. I cannot play baseball. I cannot run, but I can stand there at the plate just like Daniel Vogelbach.
That's a fair point.
And I don't know if I in one way I want him gone now. In other ways, I want him to still be there on June 12th for the Pete Alonso Comedy Night, because I'm actually going to be performing at the Pete Alonso Comedy Night in front of the Mets.
Wow. What are you going to do?
Well, I got a song already worked out. The Mets are a dumpster fire to the tune of We Didn't Start the Fire.
Mets are a dumpster fire.
They are always teasing. They are never pleasing.
Mets are a dumpster fire.
And just go over the last 35 years. I've already got like a couple of lines set up so that, Mets won the World Series when I was almost 11 years old. I was actually kind of a thin kid back then. And then I started eating to cover up my depression of every Met loss. And, well, that's how I got to where I got.
That's a good way to go, Frank. Now, wait a minute. We didn't start the fire. When it really gets cooked, Joe's like spit. It's pretty fast. Are we to ask? You got enough writing, enough lyrics for that, or is it just like the chorus?
No, I got enough things. I've already got this line. Generation K blown away. What else do I have to say?
Oh no!
I like it.
It's
now
June
wait a minute.
12th, you said?
Sorry, let me. I didn't see. Did you officially cancel Frank?
I kind of consoled out of frustration.
It doesn't matter why you did it. If you did it, you did it. Did you officially do it? Yes?
Well, I console 5 times a day.
Frank consoled right before the Ray series, I believe. So we missed all the fucking fun that we were having for those 5. I mean,
no, actually, no. The console was the game where Justin Verlander got just demolished.
Okay. Yep. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I did say that the comeback win was the type of win that can spark a team to life.
Frank, and when you say like consoling, there's no like half pregnant. You're either pregnant or having pregnant. Console, you're either console or having consoled. I don't know what you said, but I did see it get retweeted onto my timeline, and it said "I console" in all capital letters. So Frank,
now
I love when he's cheeky like this too. I love when you're cheeky like this, Frank.
Yeah, this is the good Frank. I like this Frank. What people don't understand about the console is now you watch and you hope that they prove you wrong. And yeah, listen, if it's the year that my greatest fear in life is I console the Mets on a year that they somehow make a run to the World Series. And if the Mets win it on a year that you proclaim them dead in May, then you're the biggest asshole. But
I can live with that.
Hopefully that happens. Yeah, exactly. That's a problem we all want to have, right?
I can live with that. I have no problem with that.
Right. The worst thing in the world is consoling and being right.
The DVDs. This could be the DVD moment where Frank consoled. He sang a song to the Mets about how bad they were, and then they won the World Series. Like that is now in the timeline possibility here, Frank.
Yep.
I mean, Marty got a couple of hits yesterday, but he still doesn't look right to me. I personally think he's injured.
No.
And not healthy.
Yeah, that's kind of been his bugaboo his whole career, right?
It's something, man.
And now that Alvarez
just
is
a little bit of regression, but
now that Alvarez has finally learned how to hit, if they even
age of 23 in the
Frank, you say finally. It took the guy like a couple months, man. Relax.
Not a couple of weeks.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. Like, what the fuck?
There's the smile.
He's 23, Frank. He's like half your age. Finally, it's like crazy.
Well, they got to move him up in the lineup. I'm tired of watching him hit ninth.
Yeah.
Yes. That we can all agree upon.
Mark Cannon should hit ninth.
Now, here's the problem, though. We can talk about tinkering the lineup all you want. It's the pitch. The pitching stinks, man. And these guys all getting 30 starts is going to be a fuck. Unless a couple
Senga just got to get his fucking command.
Who does?
Senga just got to get the command.
Yeah.
I think he has his stuff. Carlos Carrasco was lucky as a motherfucker yesterday.
Did you believe that he was the good game? The one that we won is fucking mind blowing.
Do we have a cookie rating?
Frank, what's the cookie rating yesterday? Let me hear it. Let me hear your good cookie. You can't give him the dance cookies, which I think are good. At least the pretzel ones.
I hate the Danish cookies. They're dry
that's ridiculous. They're underrated.
But I'll give them a Chips Ahoy.
Blue package. We're talking original.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I think that was. I guess that he himself. I think Chips Ahoy is pretty good. I guess that game has to be a Chips Ahoy. I don't think Cookie on the whole right now is a Chips Ahoy by any means.
No, yesterday was Chips Ahoy.
Right. Okay.
A lot of tight spots.
This year he's been dollar store Cookie.
Yeah. Man, it's just so hard in baseball to get everything to line up.
I mean, he's got me to the point where I actually want to see Joey Lucchesi pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to say that, and then once he's on the bump, we're just like, man, I want anyone basically other. Tell me what you guys think about this. So, KFC, you remember you gave up extra inning games once upon a time, and I gave up West Coast games. We said, all right, I'm out. You guys are going to cover for me whenever this happens. I am asking for this from you guys. I need an opener. I need someone else to watch the first inning for me. I'm done with first innings. Get me going at 7:20 p.m. or whatever it is Eastern time.
Why don't we all just watch innings 3 through 7? Because at this point, the beginning of the game, I'll tune in at 8 o'clock every night because the first minutes are torture.
Well, just like Kyle turned his account into a did a Mets pitcher go 6th inning? I will be dedicating the rest of my account to did Daniel Vogelbach swing the bat?
All right, Frank. I'm like scared to get you into a lather, but the floor is yours. Give us your Vogelbach takes. Let's hear it.
He has got to go. I'd rather have Aaron Hicks. I know Aaron Hicks sucks, but he can catch the ball. He has some speed.
I don't know if he can catch the ball from what I've seen.
Yeah, those highlights are brutal.
Well, he looks like Tommy Pham out there.
Yo,
he's left-handed Tommy Pham right now.
Yeah, no, it's not great. He has got to go.
but Daniel Vogelbach just standing there as pitches go down the plate. It's like you ever see? I keep tweeting out the clip. Griffin down to his last strike 3, and he knew it. Put him down to AAA Pawtucket.
It's tough, man. Tough times.
You know what? Vogelbach looks like he's a player in RBI baseball, and like your remote's not working. Your controller's not working.
I mean, did you see Jose Reyes? It goes, Daniel Vogelbach doesn't understand the complexities of baseball. That you actually have to swing the bat to get on base.
Yeah, that was tough, man.
And you notice SNY and Keith Hernandez with that. Is he limping, Keith? No, that's just how he walks.
No, he just sucks.
Yes, I think if he does not do well in the next week, I think he's gone.
I don't think that's a leap whatsoever.
No, I think Frank's spot on here. I think.
When you start seeing SNY start bad-mouthing him, they're putting out the stat like 15 of his last 30 at-bats, he has struck out looking. When you see like Keith Hernandez making like comments at him, he goes, "Well, that was
window shopping."
when you see ex-Mets like starting making comments like Jose Reyes, he's on serious ice. It's not me complaining about him. This is Mets like royalty and inter sanctum.
And Frank, guys like me, you, and Vogelbach, we don't do well on thin ice, right? That's not where you want to see us at any given moment. Or else we're going in like the guy from Phil Collins in the air tonight.
And I look at him, and I think this guy should be. I would like Jay Bruce numbers for him.
Yeah,
203 batting average, 15 homers. I mean,
I don't even think that's too much to ask.
No,
it's just like his swing. Even last year to this year, he's not getting those line drives that we were seeing when he was producing. It's all just like roll me over ground balls, or he's striking out.
He's a 300-pound singles hitter.
Yeah,
which you just can't. It's just not. You don't bring enough value when you can only hit.
He can't play the field. He can't hit
play the field. He can't run.
Lefties. He can't run. When he walks, he clogs up the bases.
Yeah. We need like there's a designated hitter.
He's a designated watcher.
That's good, Frank. That's a good one.
Like a guy, a designated like clubhouse guy. Like you're just here for tell some jokes, keep the clubhouse loose, get everybody just like in a good mood, and then you don't ever actually have to take the plate.
That's basically what Eduardo Escobar is right now, honestly.
Yeah. I guess we already got a couple of those. That's the problem. You can only have one of them. You can't have.
And here's why. Even though I don't, not a fan of Escobar.
Safe to say.
I think he's now in the perfect role.
Yes.
Because he's almost like a coach in the bench.
Yes, but here's the thing, Frank. While you were crushing him all those times, that has been the plan all long. They put him on a short-term deal that was going to bridge that for Beatty, and that he would be the guy to.
My internet sucks. I just don't like when he plays.
But he would be the guy to.
Kevin, you're the only guy who got richer and gets worse internet. You move places, and your fucking internet, it's like a homeless person's internet. It's your Y2K right now on us.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
All
It's
right,
like
guys,
Barstool,
I'm gonna be heading out. I just wanted to drop by. I'll be at the Pete Alonso comedy event at Paramount on Long Island, June 12th.
Doors
I
at
got
6:30, starts at 7:30. There's
Yeah.
some special guests too, right?
Yep, and I got 5 minutes.
Who are the other special guests? I saw is it Kevin James?
I don't know. Last year they had Jim Brewer.
Okay.
Okay. I think you're going to be headlining, Frank. I have a feeling, if you walk into City Field and then Kevin James and Jim Brewer walking together, there's going to be a crowd around one of you guys, and it ain't the other two. I'll tell you that much. So good luck, Frank. We love you. We love this, Frank. Like this was an absolute blast, man. We truly do love having you on when you.
I just hate when the team just looks lifeless, lethargic, and it makes my blood boil.
Yeah,
I know, Frank.
The only Mets fan who gets upset when the team doesn't try. Oh man, good luck, Frank. That's awesome, dude. So what is it, June 12th?
June 12th at the Paramount, day before the Subway Series game.
Oh shit, awesome. That's gonna be sick, man. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Well, good luck, dude, and I can't wait to hear the song. It's gonna be legendary. It's gonna be great. And Karn and Roberts are hosting, right?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, good luck, Tank. Look at that, boys. Look at this. It's like the Native Americans, the Pilgrims, Thanksgiving, shaking hands. Everyone had a good time. Everyone happy.
If that was Frank all the time, my life would be so much easier.
He would be a chair on the show, is what he would be.
Yeah,
he would be a very fun chair on the show. Just like when Rico comes on, Clemmer and Frank would just keep this whole rotation of sick, twisted Mets fans, and with the four of us, man, I think it's content makes itself.
I mean, it's a different Frank than yesterday. He was just screaming about Daniel Vogelbach into the void and PFTX. What's the score of the Mets game? It's like, oh, they're not playing till 7 o'clock.
Or there was the viral video of him screaming at City Field, and people were like, "Oh, the Mets won this game!" Like,
I know. I mean, screaming at children. It's unbelievable.
And that's for anybody who thinks that it's not thinks it's a shtick. It's like that was just like found Zapruder footage of across the ballpark of him screaming at some little kid.
I will say this though, without spoiling anything from the dozen, Frank took an edible. And it seems to have maybe we might have found our path to getting through that. If we do that during a stream, during a Mets game, we might have found how to solve the tank here.
If Frank takes an edible on the dozen, is that a performance enhancer?
I think so. That's for Jeff D-Lo to decide. Yeah. I don't even want to say the word dozen anymore because I'm so scared of spoilers with him. And then Jeff has I think Jeff put the chip in our brain like they do in the Suicide Squad, where if you spoil it, your head just explodes. So I almost don't even want to say.
The other thing about Frank that calms him down is I was last week when I was watching a Rays game with him, and he was mid rant. Someone goes, "Who's Brooks Robinson?" There's that statue outside because we had the Orioles game on, and Frank just went on a 20-minute rant about Brooks Robinson and who great he was. If you just tell Frank, who was this player for 1975? He'll just unleash all his knowledge just peacefully.
Oh, that would be great if we could have someone be like, fuck is Mike Schmidt, and just see Frank have a meltdown due to that. Well, that Frank the Tank segment was brought to you by, you're not going to be more Barstool than Frank the Tank. The Barstool Sportsbook. That's right. We love the Barstool Sportsbook. It is now offering a $1,000 bonus for new players. If your first bet loses, you get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So download and create an account today. Use Believe to unlock your $1,000 bonus. Be sure to use code Believe to unlock your $1,000 bonus. Terms apply. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. I love my Barstool Sportsbook. You guys see my bets all the time on there. Usually you can bet with all the Mama Lukes here at Barstool. I saw 4Play is going to have some stuff coming up. We got Big Cat here right now, 5 within 5. I like these kind of bets. Each team to cover plus 4.5. Dodgers, Yankees, Rangers, Phillies, and Twins. They boost it up from 100 to 140. The Aunt Mary, I would love to get an Aunt Mary bet on there. Her astrology comes right before the game time. It's 5 minutes before is when she tweets it out. But again, it's the Barstool Sportsbook. We love it, and we'll probably have some more Met stuff if the starting pitching ever. Kev, remember we were going to do Verlander and Scherzer for Cy Young? Pretty happy that one didn't go through, or else we would probably be chasing that. Even the Century Club feels like a little pie in the sky right now.
You think?
A little bit. Hey, the June swoon happened in May. So now that means June is going to be the new May. So, I mean, buckle up. I can't even say that with a straight face. Nonetheless, I'll be betting on the Barstool Sportsbook for the Mets to turn it around.
What, we have to win 75 more games to hit 100?
Mm-hmm.
It's happened. We just got to be the new Dodgers. Just got to have like that 30-game winning streak.
Got to go, 75 and fucking 25. No big deal. Yeah.
Also, we have 4 rookies you can bet on to win Rookie of the Year on the Barstool Sportsbook. The current odds: Brett Beatty plus 1,700, Kodai Senga plus 4,500, Mark Vientos plus 4,000, Francisco Alvarez plus 5,000.
Who is like the standout rookie right now?
Corbin Carroll's plus 145 and James Outman's plus 175.
I think I would throw some cash on Francisco Alvarez right now.
Yeah, Vientos having better odds.
Someone asked if I could make a bet where it's like a Met will win the Rookie of the Year. I don't know if this is, again, we can't do something that is like a long-term bet as like a boosted thing, but like, why not, right? Like that would be something fun to root for. I mean, it's just, you get all those guys for the price of one.
The last Met to win Rookie of the Year?
We're not saying his name.
I know Phil knows.
Rookie of the Year. I know David Wright doing it because that motherfucker Khalil Green.
Oh, wait. There was the one before him. Never mind. It's an obvious one.
Did Reyes?
No.
After him.
DeGrom?
DeGrom? Yep. Yeah, DeGrom won it. Yeah.
No, that's what I was thinking of, but Pete won in 2019, remember?
Oh, shit. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was the lost year.
Yeah.
Then 2020 came back and didn't hand anything out.
So if you're a fan of the kids, we have a shirt I told might be dropping this weekend. I launched it. I designed it here.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. That's fucking sick.
That's awesome.
I didn't send it to you guys?
No.
Oh, shit. I thought I sent it to you guys. Yeah. So
I was actually getting mad because I sent I think I texted our group with like saying we need a shirt like this, but I never heard anything back. And I was like, fucking merch didn't do anything. That is sick.
Yeah, I like the way it came out. And then I don't know if they're going to do blue as well, but they mocked it up in blue. I just love like the buildings there. It kind of gives you.
Yeah, that is so dope.
MLBPA approved, so we cannot get sued for this one, I don't think, or at least it's going to take a little more work for people here. So
when's that dropping?
Should be dropping. I said, can we get it up by like, if, they have a moment tonight, because we kind of missed that first moment.
I was going to say, while they're still hitting would be great.
While they're still in the majors.
I was going to say, this is 1,000% the new Generation K. This will somehow crush us, and we'll hate it, but that is a great design, and they are, plus 5,000 for the way Alvarez has started to come around, and like knowing that he's a catcher and knowing that all of these pitchers are starting to rave about him. Throw a little bit of cash down on that guy for plus 5,000. Fuck yeah.
And yeah, once like the fancy pitcher numbers come out about how he's framing so well, that's when the nerds get involved, and then he mashes. So all the meatheads like us get involved, and then boom, you have a nice little chunk of change on your plate. Fuck Dodgers rookies, they stink. They'll probably trade the guy to like the A's for some fucking relief pitcher. Fuck that shit. Go with our boys, the kids of Queens.
That reminds me of like a 90s shirt. Like the old like font and stuff. It's looking like a newspaper headline. That's sick.
Yeah, I dig it, man. They did a good job. Unfortunately, the guy who's not a member of the Kids of Queens, I don't think he's even a kid anymore. The great Gary Sanchez, El Gary, tip our caps to you. I have to actually tip my cap to Andy Martino for basically creating a story out of absolutely nothing. Did you guys follow all this, Kev? I don't know if you follow because you're not on Twitter as much anymore.
It's not just Andy. It was DeComo too. I don't want to just single out Andy here when there's 2 people involved.
Tony D was in on this too?
Yes.
So, Phil, explain to the people what happened here, because it
pretty
was
much wild. Andy Martino just says, the Mets have a decision makes with catchers, and Francisco Alvarez has options he could have. And then Anthony DeComo wrote pretty much the same thing, and then a week later goes, I don't know where all this talk about sending Francisco Alvarez down came from. It's like, you wrote the damn article.
And the fan base was going crazy. They're like, we can't send Alvarez down. And I'm like, what? Wait, what did send Alvarez down come into the thing?
Yeah, dude, I got a text from Mama Clance, and she was like, are we really going to send down Alvarez for Gary Sanchez? And I was like, what are you talking about, you crazy lady? Like, where did this even come from? And I guess she was probably watching SNY with Martino or whoever. Because I was like, no, Mom, that would be fucking insanity. And now I come to find out that actual talking heads were pitching that idea. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, my Mets friends group chat just like we're spamming. Like, oh, they're saying Alvarez. I'm like, why are you listening to this guy? Like,
Yeah.
He sucks. I don't know if I've ever seen someone's job called for more than him. Like people call for Buck's job right now. Like they've been calling for Martino's job for years. He was on the show as the talking head, and the other two guys on the show with him are like, "The fuck are you talking about?" Then he got off the show. Then he wrote an article about the show, and then like Phil said, a week later, he's like, "I don't know who would think that this is a good idea." It's like, what? That was like ESPN C team.
He did the Rick James. He's like, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
And look, they handled the Gary Sanchez thing well. Started him Sunday, started doubleheader with Max Scherzer. Then they started him Tuesday and said, you know what? We saw enough. Get out of here.
Yeah, that watch part. Kev, you had the T-ball. Did we get a win on T-ball? I mean, I guess everyone wins. There's no such thing as winning.
We don't do that yet. It's just like hitting,
the Fifth and Mad. It's sick, dude. There's like this huge upstairs, and it's like there's a bar, but then there's just a ton of couches in this one spot. And God willing, knock on wood, if we ever get like a playoff watch party, it would be the perfect place for it. We'd have to get a win there before we obviously go. But Gary Sanchez, did Sanchez start on Tuesday? He did, right? And he absolutely bad. He sucked. Fam sucked. It was like bad defense, bad hitting, bad everything. I'm happy we got the experience. I was very jealous of El Gary back in the day. I let you guys know in the group chat, like the Yankee fans, I'm like, they have a mashing catcher, such a silly but fun nickname in El Gary. He came to the Mets, did what the ex-Yankees usually do on the Mets, suck dick, and now he's no longer on them. So good, like Phil said, it'll be like, oh yeah, Gary Sanchez was on the 2023 Mets. It's one of those things we will forget by this time next year, 100% guaranteed.
Yeah, it's like, oh, do you remember Ender Enciarte on this team last year? Or Matt Reynolds apparently was on this team last year, if you guys remember that.
Matt Reynolds?
Yes, he played an inning for us last year. Don't remember it at all.
Crazy.
I do not remember that.
I already forgot about the Alars. Like I saw VR the other day, and I'm like, holy shit, I remember
that.
I
remember. That face mask forever, man.
No, Pilar, yes. VR with the crazy cross earring.
Yeah.
That guy was great.
Yeah. He was number 1, right? Was he number? Yeah. He had I remember he had a sweet number, and I was like, well, that guy's going to be awesome because his number is cool.
Yeah, JV1, Jordani Valdespin.
Oh, my God. So, the El Gary movement, it came. I think Yankee fans were a little scared for a minute, like maybe he might, turn around in Queens, and he most certainly did not. The Alvarez shit was like the most ridiculous stuff. And I don't know, would you guys want to do 3 catchers at some point? Like, I don't know how the roster setup could work, but I love the idea of being able to use Alvarez as a DH or a pinch hitter at some point and not have Buck have to go, well, if I lose Buck's not a guy who wants to have to rely on an emergency catcher if, God forbid, the backup gets hurt.
I think the easy call is see what the trade market is for Omar Narvaez. There has to be some team that thinks like this is a catcher that's could be starter quality. Maybe we'll give you a reliever for him and match his salaries. Like I think it's really that simple.
Okay, that's fair.
He was hitting before he left, but I think he has 49 at bats. So it was just enough to be like, okay, maybe he could play baseball, but sure as shit, he's not our starter now. So.
What Narvaez? I don't even think he had maybe 8 at bats. It was like the 7th game of the year he got hurt.
I think we all expected him to suck. So when he didn't suck, it felt like he was awesome, right? I think we were all kind of in that boat. Omar Narvaez, 14 at bats, 4 for 14 was his stats this year.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he had a hit on opening day. I remember that.
4 for 14. So he has 2 RBIs. Nito has 1 RBI, and El Gary had 1 RBI with 6 at bats.
Yep. There has to be some team out there to want Omar Narvaez or give us any reliever just to lengthen our pen.
Interesting fact here, fellas, which I did not realize. He's one of those guys, at least the last couple seasons, where he's good, bad, good, bad. So 278 with 22 home runs, then 176 with 2, granted COVID, 266 with 11 home runs, then 206 with 4. So I'm selling this to the opposing GM. Odd year Narvaez, kind of maybe an all-star. That's how you kind of have to sell it. The amount that people have been talking about this fucking guy on Twitter, you'd think he had 140 at-bats instead of 14, right? They're like, no. Put Nito on acid, kill him. I don't give a fuck. We need Narvaez back. I think we have our catcher of the present and the future. I'd throw the shirts back on, but I can't. But check them out. They'll be on the Barstool Sports store soon.
It took 14 at-bats for Frank to come up with a nickname for Omar Narvaez.
Bro, he made that nickname before he even got that bad. He said that before opening day.
That's amazing, man.
Oh, boy.
Man, good Frank is so much more fun than bad. It's like the Mets. It's like when the Mets are good, it's so much more fun than when they're bad, and everything feels like, our pets' heads are falling off. Speaking of good, we have to just shout out our boy here. Pete motherfucking Alonso. MVP. I mean those are the next shirts we have. MVP.
You know what's crazy? When he hit 53, obviously it was such a shock. I told the world I would come myself and jump off a bridge. So the whole time it was like, he can't keep up this pace. It's going to stop. It's going to stop. When's it going to stop? Holy shit, I don't think it's stopping. And then all of a sudden the year was over and he had 50 bombs. Now that he's settled in and it looks like he's locked into one of those years where you could just watch it and enjoy it, it's fucking sick. It's just like every other game. Like every other game, you're going to get to see a Pete Alonso home run. It's fucking awesome.
I love me some fuck bombs. Hitting home runs is a lot more fun than not hitting home runs and watching that.
Oh my God, look at that.
Only one opposite field home run.
So that's the home runs hit at Wrigley Field by a righty. They were like, that's just how much stronger he is than anyone else who plays.
Holy shit. That I didn't even see the dot that we're talking about.
Yeah,
oh my
it's
God.
the only opposite field one. And it was like in that gap where it juts out.
And it was a windy day too.
Wait a minute. Did he hit it like out of the the zip code? Holy shit.
Yeah. He's like, once this guy has a kid and he gets his dad strength kicked in, he's already got it.
Wait, Kev. I think you were looking at the key. Are you talking about that?
Yeah, I just realized that.
I thought that was his home run. I was like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah, that's that went into this.
Say what the home run was. Got it. That's hilarious. That's why.
Oh my God.
Swanson and him. So I was like, oh, that's Swanson's and that's Pete's.
But with Pete, it's possible, right? With Pete, it is possible.
Why. That's just to put Pete in perspective. If you told me he hit a ball out of fucking Wrigley like that, I would fucking believe it.
He's done it before. Pole side. I think it was last year. He had one well out of Wrigley, but
he just crushes the ball, and that was the difference. That was the one thing about Pete, which like when he was coming up, when we didn't know who he was going to be. When he did hit home runs, they were fucking titanic. So whether the wind's blowing in or the balls are dead or this, that, the other thing, the dude just will put the ball over the fence one way or another every time.
He's the best dude. I never understand the rest of the season stats on Fangraphs. I don't know if they're ever right or even close to it, but basically all of them saying he's going to hit either 48 to 50 something home runs by the end of the season based on projections and shit like that. And the only bad part of his, stat line is like the batting average is kind of ugly and it's getting better. And if he keeps hitting home runs, it's only going to get better. Right. So,
I mean, he's hit the most home runs since coming into the league, right? That still belongs to him.
Yep.
I mean, you keep that pace up and you're the slugger of a generation. Like if he just keeps, maybe he's not the best, maybe he doesn't win an MVP because his batting average is low, whatever. But it's just like, since I arrived here, I hit more home runs than fucking anybody. That's what Pete does.
And he wins the fucking home run derby every single time too, which kind of like, it's not an important, thing.
No, yeah,
But for like slugger, that means something.
Yeah. Like honestly, like the home run, chicks dig the long ball. The home run is king. It's always been the thing. And if he does it better than anyone, like how blessed are we as Mets fans to get to watch that? Keep that in mind.
I'm going to ask this one. I'll open up to the whole room here, but I think the only one who might get it is Phil. This one's a little tricky. Most home runs from 2010 to 2019 since I don't know what happened during the early steroids, 2000s. Because if you said slugger of the 2010s, it wouldn't be the guy, I don't think, who led. I think you'd probably say the third guy would be your guy, and I think it's because of injuries. But number one, any guesses?
I think I remember this stat.
This feels like a dozen question.
2010 to 2019.
I remember that Robinson Cano had a stat that was like the most home runs since blah, 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 blah. Is it him?
Not Cano. Let me see if Cano's on here. where he is.
Trout is the trap.
There was something that
Trout, 5. Trout's 5.
Where
Cano
is Jose
is, like-
Batista on this list?
Batista is right behind Trout at 6.
That was my guess because I honestly have no idea.
Okay, DH guy, American League guy, a lot more.
Chris Davis.
Nope. I don't know if Chris Davis is on here.
Because he had like those 3 years of
Cruz
40.
is your answer.
What?
Oh, wow.
Nelson Cruz, Edwin Encarnacion is 2, and I think the slugger we would all say is Giancarlo Stanton or Mike Stanton, as Kev calls him. Like,
yes,
it's like an injury
Stanton's
thing.
not first.
Yeah, he is 308. Nelly has 346. And you figure if he didn't miss like 1,000 games in that time, he'd be number 1.
Nelly should have been my guess because he's the active home run leader now with like all the other old guys retired. Oh, no, actually, no, it's Miggy's the active guy.
Then Pujols is 4, which like that's Angels Pujols and shit like that. Trout, Bautista, Jay Bruce. Didn't see that coming. Miguel Cabrera, Chris Davis, Justin Upton, Adam Jones. So
they said Pete was the quickest, second fastest to 100. Only Ryan Howard had more. And obviously Ryan Howard like fell off a cliff because he got hurt and blew out his Achilles and everything. But Pete's got 165 and Ryan Howard finished with like 380.
And he had the COVID year taken away from him too. Like maybe 100 more games out of Pete.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine that. I mean, it would be far away.
Ryan Howard would have been shoving it up our ass for so much longer if he never got hurt. Like people forget that how that dude was just a bad motherfucker.
On the final out too.
Oh, was it really? That's right. Oh,
lose the World Series and blow out your Achilles.
Man, that's devastating. All right, boys. Well, I mean, let's see. So we have
Scherzer, Verlander.
And this is in Colorado. I hate the Colorado series. I always hate it. Is it Phil? Do you know how the stats have been there? Are they humidoring it? Not humidoring it? Is it still a launching pad? Do you know what's going on in Colorado these days?
It's still a launching pad, obviously, but we have our good pitchers going. I guess you could say that there are good pitchers if they pitch like they're good pitchers. But we're also facing their bad pitchers, so we should be able to hit those guys.
Yeah, that's the one thing that feels a little better about this. The Cubs series, we faced a couple of good guys who shut us down. So it's like if we can't, I feel like we'll get healthy as an offense against Seabold. That's a guy. That's who we're facing tonight. Anderson, Chase Anderson, then Austin Gomber are the 3 here. So and then we have Scherzer, Verlander, McGill.
It's a team that's not good. We should probably take 2 out of 3, and we'll see where we are on Monday. It's really what it's
words to die by.
Yeah, Gomber beat us 5-2 last time he was in Citi Field, though. So it's like they took 2 or 3 against us. So I don't know, man. It's like I guess in Colorado I can spin zone it in my head if we get those like go for balls in the first inning. It's like, well, it's just thin air. I don't know what else to say though. Like
Mets have not let off a game with a home run yet this season. Brandon Nimmo will watch in full effect because he goes off every time they're in Colorado.
They don't have a single first inning home run since Game 2 of the Wild Card Series.
Wow. I feel like that's something we could responsibly bet on the Barstool Sportsbook. I'll have to figure out how we can get that. Nimmo leadoff home run. Like, what are that has to be some fucking juicy.
He had a leadoff inside the Parker there. Like,
dude, every time he plays there, I'm like, if he didn't sign long term with the Mets, he was like destined to be a Rocky.
Yep. Closer to God, we said, right? He was going to be in my eye, closer to God, and obviously close to like Wyoming and all that shit. So, and that was the thing. That watch party against the Cubs on Tuesday night, when that ball didn't go out and he got stranded at second. It was like, well, I've seen this story before.
Yeah.
So we got 3 against the Rockies here, and then after by the way, no game on Memorial Day. I'll get my Frances on. Dog, you gotta have the New York baseball team.
No, listen, we know how we play on holidays. Fucking take them all off. Take them all off.
That's actually a good point. I remember Mike did have like a huge rant against it. And like the next year, the Mets and Yankees were both on Memorial Day, like 1:00. Like I'm telling you, that man had someone in the commissioner's office. So we'll see what happens out in Colorado. I just always hate these. This is when the bullpen arms get tired. But like Kev said, you don't have to worry on Monday. Enjoy your holiday. Nice cold Coors Lights at your side. Responsibly bet on the Barstool Sportsbook. Gotta believe.
You got to call Verizon. I'm calling Verizon right now.